Hi guys.
Hello.
Hi.
Humphrey, Stephen, Ollie. It's really nice to see you. I thought we'd start off with talking to you, telling us about your fans and who comes to your concerts.
Well, our fans are a very unusual, interesting mix of different types of people. Some of them are very young, some of them are a bit older, some are a lot older than that. They're predominantly female, although having said that, that changes around the world as well. We have different types of fan in different parts of the world, I think it's fair to say. Out in Asia, when we perform a lot there, they're often very, very young. Yeah. So you have teenage fans and screaming girls, which is always great, good fun.
I love that, different types of fan. It's like a species.
It is, there are
many lion in the jungle.
Exactly, and you have the rarer ones, so single men coming along to our concerts, they're very rare indeed. But no, for the most part, they're all fascinating people who just seem to enjoy emotional music. They like to be uplifted by the type of music that we do, and we're lucky. They're great fans. They support us loyally wherever we are in the world. Yeah.
Well, so in your concerts, you make a point of making jokes and interacting with the audience.
Yeah,
so
very much.
It's a real show.
We do, yeah. We can't really help it. It's just what we do. Between, if we make a point of it, I think we realised quite early on. I mean, we've been around 7 years now, and I imagine for the first couple of years when we started, we weren't all that special in terms of a live act. It's something you have to learn by doing it.
We were a bit stiff when we started.
I'm sure we were stiff. Yeah, definitely. And it was more about just going on stage and singing and doing it that way. And we realised that in order to make a show, you need to entertain. And that's from seeing a lot of our other colleagues in the industry who do that, and some of them are very good. And some of them aren't so entertaining. They're fantastic vocalists or fantastic instrumentalists, but then in between they don't really do that. So we did very consciously want to create a show that was funny and entertaining and moving and sad and just generally emotional and has all the highs and lows. And in order to do that, you need to make your audience relax and enjoy themselves.
So that wasn't really planned from the beginning. Then you didn't. So it's kind of all grown organically, isn't it?
Yeah, I think when you're in a group as we are, and you have genuine relationships and friendships off stage as well as on stage, I think we found that those evolved in front of the audiences as well as our natural rapport and sort of chat between us, and you develop a sort of relationship with the music, and then you have a relationship with your audience and with each other, and between those three different situations will occur, and it'll be different every night. And it'd be a lie to say there aren't certain things or lines that we know work, which we bring out in the same shows.
There's stuff that's the same every night, just as much as there is.
You know it's going to work.
Yeah, you know it works.
It's
You know how it links.
Some of it is a challenge actually, to take a line that people have got used to us hearing us say, and then just find different ways of delivering it, or to change a story that people know. And sometimes it just gets more and more ridiculous the more we tell a story, and that's part of the fun.
But it's what an audience likes, and an audience loves to see a performer, or certainly a group of performers, interacting with each other as well as just performing music, and they love to feel engaged, and that's really important.
And I think that comes from your confidence as well, doesn't it? I mean, the fact that the confidence has grown. You're more at ease on stage now, so you. As
Ollie said, it's 7 years ago we were pretty shy on stage, like rabbits and headlights, very literally. Especially as our very first shows as a group stadium performances, which were quite difficult. And then, in actual fact, what helped us develop a little bit of stagecraft was we toured for two long concert tours with Catherine Jenkins, and we did about 45 shows with her. And every night, when you're doing that many different shows and you're only doing a kind of support slot, so maybe you're doing 4 or 5 songs, you have to very quickly work out and fine-tune your performance, because you've only got 20 minutes to wow an audience, to get them on your side. So the bad jokes got thrown out very, very quickly, and you start keeping the good ones. And I'm sure there are still lines that we learned 7 years ago that we pop into a show now.
Are you saying that in a 2-hour show now we have no bad jokes at all?
No, there are no bad ones whatsoever, except for deliberate ones.
So these men that are being dragged along by their wives, what do they make of it? Because you get
Thank you so much for focusing on that again.
Well, it's actually really interesting.
Well, you meet them afterwards, don't you?
We always try and do a meet and greet afterwards, and actually the number we always refer to it in the show. We'll sort of say, guys, we're really sorry. And if we're touring or have a guest artist who's a pretty girl, then we'll say, don't worry, and there's a bit of a relief coming on now because there's something nice to look at. And the number of times, because we bring that up in the show, they make a point of coming to see us afterwards and say, actually, absolutely loved it. And it's I think we're onto something quite rare where we actually can appeal in live performance to men and to women. It's been quite exciting and refreshing to learn that.
Took us a while. We actually I remember going along to a Michael Bublé concert about 4 or 5 years ago, and I think of all the performers I've ever seen in my life, he's king at putting men at ease. And he does that by simply levelling with them and saying, look, I wanted to be an NFL hockey player, but I just wasn't strong enough or fit enough or macho enough. So I ended up singing love songs. And I think that's kind of being comfortable to put yourself down a little bit on stage or just to...
You sound like you were seduced by Michael Bublé.
I was very seduced by Michael Bublé.
Say that because I was thinking your audience are probably very similar to Michael Bublé.
A bit smaller in number.
We don't regularly do kind of 10 O2 shows in a row yet.
So tell us some of the things you have done. I mean, I know you played at Shelley Bassey's 70th birthday.
We did.
How did that come about? And what
that came about purely through, like a lot of things I have to say in this career, which come about through one single person seeing you doing something and thinking that appeals to them or their friend, and actually searching you out as an individual rather than through your agents or your record label or anything else. And that one came specifically from us happening to do a morning TV show, which a lot of other people saw, and this one lady happened to have a daughter to whom Shelley Bassey was godmother. And she said, I think you do very well at this. And she told her about it, and she said, yes, I'd love to have her. And so we went along and we did it. And it was as simple as that. And actually, I've found over all the years, those are the best connections you can make and the best gigs. And it's all down to people seeing you and seeing that works. And that's what I always say. I mean, people come and see us live and they understand what we're about. I could sit here for 50 minutes and try and explain what we do, and it wouldn't work. It's just not something you can understand.
Let's ask you a question. If you were, say, if someone was watching now, what would be your ideal gig? I mean, your ideal person. Who would you want to play, collaborate with, or
to perform with on stage?
Maybe perform on stage with, or
we
party.
love performing with female soloists. It's great. It works very well with having a group of guys and one girl. We've been touring over this last year and actually further into this year with Camilla Kerslake, who is a Brit-nominated artist. She's been on the West End. She's very, very good singer. She's great fun to work with. Well, that's a nice combination because we're having fun on stage with her. There's a good rapport. The comedy continues when she comes on stage as well. Fantastic. That's what we look for really in other performers, and I think that having an opportunity to sing with someone like Shirley Bassey or somebody at that level is what we would aspire to. We'd like to be able to do that. So she
sang with you at her?
She sang straight after.
She sang immediately after. We sang her happy birthday, and then she got up and sang herself happy birthday.
Like a true diva.
So we have both sung Shelley Bassey happy birthday.
Exactly.
And the other thing you have done is you sung to the American audience, 20 million audience on Kate Williams' wedding.
Yes, that was great. That was a really fun day. I mean,
live in Trafalgar Square.
Wow.
So we did we're actually at the moment this coming year, 2014, we're going to start doing more stuff in the States, which is really exciting for us because obviously, as you know, sort of Cool Britannia has been very big in the US for the last 2 to 3 years. So. There's some real excitement about us going out there and doing some gigs. But that was Trafalgar Square on the Today Show, and it literally was purely live. And they said, right, you're on, and you should have to look at a camera and think, right, there's 20 million people looking at me through that thing. And but it was very exciting, and London was such a buzz. The whole of London was taken over by wedding fever.
Wow.
To be a few metres away from the Abbey.
Do you find you're slightly more nervous with a big crowd that you can actually see, or at the camera knowing that 20 million people are watching you?
It's interesting. It's an interesting question. I mean, the last time we had that with the sort of both of those in the same time was we were out in Shanghai, and we did the International Film Awards, which is like the sort of Chinese Oscars. and we were in a huge venue, so there was sort of 4,500 people, all terribly important, film industry people. So that was kind of nerve-wracking. And then a camera, and instead of 20 million, that time it was 350 million. And we did something in Mandarin. So they came to us 24 hours before and said, "Would you sing something in Mandarin?" We said, "We can't say anything apart from thank you." So we learnt this song in Mandarin, which we didn't really know, so that was pretty bad. All 4,000 people staring at you, plus one of those. It was that's about as intense as it gets, but it's a different feeling. Live TV is difficult. It's often very rushed. You don't get much time to rehearse, and you're kind of on your heel.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're in a concert environment, even if it's to 30,000 people, you've generally had a sound check. You're probably doing quite a lot of music as opposed to just 3 minutes, one song and all that pressure on one song. So they're two very different environments and disciplines, but they're both enjoyable in their own way.
It is hard with TV, that sense of right, turn it on now, and off you go, and you have to be the absolute best you can be for those 3 minutes, and then off. And you don't really.
You'll get. I suppose you'll get more so comfortable with it by the
We've got better with it. I remember when we started, one of our members used to get this thing where as soon as the camera turned on, he'd get these neck spasms, and he'd literally be there going like that, and you could see him going. So, and it was psychological. You had to go to somebody to teach him to relax.
I do remember the one of our very first gigs. Sort of big public things was actually we sang for a charity shield match in the stadium, and it was full, so it was 91,000 or something crazy like that. And I remember one of us being so nervous that to stop the microphone shaking in sort of literally white knuckle grip. Sort of two-handed. I mean, we'd all gone out there in the sound check and been like, "Yeah, great, just be like this, light as a feather." Yeah. And you end up so that can happen.
I think it's natural. It's the whole kind of fight or flight thing. I mean, it isn't a usual thing for a human to see that many people.
Yeah, and it's an adrenaline rush anyway, isn't it?
Oh, it's a big one. I mean, that's what I love about. I mean, people jump off mountains to get their kicks. I suppose it's nice to go on stage every now and then and get yours that way. I mean, I find coming off stage. I mean, it's like any kind of performing though. As long as you feel you've done your very best that night, you come off on a massive high. And if you come off thinking, "Oh, damn, I didn't quite nail something the way I wanted to," then even though your audience won't have noticed at all, they never do, because you're far more critical of yourself than anybody else is. And you can come off feeling that wasn't so good. And we all have to sort of buck each other up a bit when that happens. Right. But usually we all come off and it's a big high, which is why we then like to go and meet everybody after the gigs and sign autographs or whatever, or sign anything really.